Hi, I'm Kitse and today I'm very excited to show you the new and revamped version of Sizzy that we've been working on for the past 6 months. Let's go. So the number one thing that we're proud of is how we cleaned up the UI and how we improved the UX. So instead of having 3,000 buttons and two sidebars, now we have only one sidebar on the right side, and any button that was unnecessary, it's either completely gone or it's hidden in this three-dot menu. And it appears when it needs to appear in a certain scenario. We cleaned up the entire UI of the buttons, the hover effects, the animations, and so on and so forth. And instead of having two project switchers, one for managing, one for switching between projects, we have one simple project switcher, which I'm going to explain later. So, clean UI. Next, we have multiple tabs, which I'm just gonna jump straight into. So I have this tab number 1 here, and as you can see on the new tab page, it allows me to search or enter a website name. So I'm gonna do that first. We're gonna go to kitse.io, press enter. We're gonna load that website. Next up, we're gonna go here and we're gonna search. So we're gonna say mobx state tree TypeScript. I'm gonna go and open this here. Next, I'm gonna open another tab, and in this tab, let's move to the next section, which is loading a bookmark. So I can quickly load a bookmark. It's gonna load. Moving on to the next new tab section, which has my favorite devices, meaning the devices that I use the most of in Sizzy. So I can easily start a device canvas, the thing that the old Sizzy had, with a single device. So I can start with iPhone 14 Pro Max, let's say. I can load a single URL here, and now I can load as many devices as I want. I can just start throwing devices here. I can open the new drawer. I can just load any device here. I can zoom out, and as you can see, we have these multiple devices. I can middle click to click a device, and basically let's move on. I can click on the plus again, open another tab, and in this tab I can open one of the presets like responsive check, and in this tab I can have another website loaded like twizzle.app, and these devices are going to load this website. So in here I can have this be float, so I can move this around, I can move this here, I can rotate this, put it here, so on and so forth. So as you can see, I just wanted to show you as quickly as possible what you can do with the new Sizzy. So previously we were constrained to only this. You had to have a single workspace in Sizzy, and if you wanted to open another website for design reference or for reading documentation or for quickly searching something, or to have a second workspace where in that workspace you will have a different website loaded with different devices, that was not possible. Now you can open as many tabs as you want, and they can have as many different things. Like some of the tabs can have like a full tab, some of them can have a responsive view, and another new thing that we have is a split view. So split view is possible in any tab. So let's start with a crazier scenario where I'm going to add a split view here and open, let's say, Apple Pie on the right side. And on the Apple Pie, I'm going to load another website. So now I have side by side. Let me just change this to grid and just zoom it out a little bit. I have a side by side of two different websites, and this is probably going to be two different pages of your current website instead of two different websites. So you can compare how two different pages look like in two different scenarios on two different sets of devices. So the new Sizzy can get pretty crazy, and as an extra you can add another split, and maybe on this split we'll have, I don't know, something like maintain dev to reference the components that I'm working with. I can just put this on the side and just search some components that I have here. Yeah, so as you can see, you can open as many splits as you want, and in any split, you'll be able to load anything that you want, whether that's a single website, whether that's another Sizzy device canvas, whether that's a single device. You can just maybe zoom it out and have a single device here and see how something works. You can go pretty crazy with the new Sizzy. So as you can see now, all the limitations that you had in the previous Sizzy are solved here, and you can have as many different scenarios as you want without being restricted to a single URL and a single device canvas. So let's talk about the device canvas. We call the device canvas the old thing that has a bunch of devices. So I can start it with a device, or I can start it with a preset. So let's just start it with a single iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I'm going to load the website here, and I want to show you that everything that was previously possible in Sizzy is still possible. So we have all the things for device alignment, for device canvassing, device config. The difference is if I have two device canvases side by side, if I say that here I want the devices to scroll together, here on the right side maybe I don't want that. So if I choose that here, that I don't want any synchronizations, let's say on this side, so here the devices won't scroll together, but here the devices will scroll together. So now these two device canvases, like this one and this one, they have separate settings. So what I can do is on the left one, I can maybe turn on one of the simulations, or let's say I'm going to debug styles. So I'm going to override the font here, and I'm going to outline all the elements. So now this is applied only on the left side on this canvas, and on this canvas I might have another thing. Let's say in I'm gonna enable the grid overlay plugin on this side. So this enables for pretty powerful scenarios and workflows that you might find with the new version of Sizzy. So I was showing you the new tab screen that lets us easily start a device canvas with one of these devices or one of these presets. So you might be wondering, can we still have custom presets? So I have good news. Let's start a device canvas with a single device, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I'm going to throw in here an iPhone 11 Pro and an iPad Pro, and I'm going to save them into a float position. So I'm going to move this here, I'm going to move this here, and move this here, just put them one on top of the other, this on the left, let's say, just zoom it out a little bit, maybe, let's drag this, yeah, like that. And let's say I want to save this. The good news is we simplified presets that the only things that will be saved in the preset are the device alignment, the device config, meaning whether you want the frame, whether you want the browser and OS, basically the visual things that you see here, but we won't save the URLs and we won't save the sessions and we won't save all the complex settings that we previously saved in a preset. So if I want to save this, I'm going to go to presets, I'm going to save this and call it my funky layout and click submit. So now I can load any website. Let's go to one of the websites here, and here are the websites in this preset. I can easily switch to the breakpoints preset, or I can switch to the responsive check preset. It's going to load the same website, but if I have another website here, let's go to twizzle.app, I can still switch to the funky layout preset that we saved before, and this website is going to load on this preset. If I go back to the new tab page, you will see that my funky layout will appear here, so I can quickly jump and start this layout and then just load any website into this layout. If you ever want to change your mind and update this preset, let's say I don't want this to be rotated, so I want them saved like this, you can easily just go back to the presets menu and just click on update here. So it's going to ask you, are you sure? And now next time you're going to start this preset, it's going to be with the updated layout. So presets are not active and they're not automatically saved. You can always mess around. So I can always mess around and move devices and add devices, and if I want to go back, I can just load the preset again and it's going to go back. If I want to move things and change the preset, I have to explicitly click on update and confirm that I want to save and update this preset. So super simplified, and I hope they will enhance your workflow. There are many quality of life improvements you're going to find on your own, hopefully, but some of them are hidden, so I want to show you some tips how you can be even faster in the new Sizzy. When you have a bunch of devices and you want to get quickly rid of them, you can middle click the title of the device and it's just gonna disappear, just like middle clicking to close a tab. Also, we have the same thing for splits. Instead of going for the close button, you can just middle click the split here, middle click it here, and it's going to disappear. We have a new menu for the device canvas that if you have a bunch of things going on here and you want to snap them to grid, you want to snap them to a certain layout or center them, you can right click here, align to grid, right click, align to center, or you can right click and remove all the devices from the canvas. Another thing that we have in the device canvas, you might have noticed, if I load breakpoints, it loads these like things that we call resizable panes, and we give you pre-configured ones, but you can draw and add new ones as you please. So I'm going to close these and I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to click on the plus, click on resizable pane, load a website, and let's just right click, add another one, right click, add another one, and here I can just resize them to be whatever I want them to be. So these don't have to be particular devices. You can just have, I don't know, an Apple Watch size if you want to display your website on an Apple Watch for some reason, or a super huge device canvas. So these are not saved or anything. You can just throw as many of them as you want. You can just they also work in float mode, so if you want to take this one, put it, move it somewhere, and then add another one, and then drag it and then resize it, all of them are going to load the same website. They're going to scroll together. So that's new in the device canvas. In the new Sizzy, we tried to take our Safari simulation even further. So now when you go in simulations and switch to a light mode or dark mode, not only that the website will change, but also the Safari UI will change. So if I switch this to light, you will notice here, everything is light. When I switch it to dark, it's going to switch to dark. We will also do this for Android soon, and we will take the iOS simulation even further by reading the correct meta color to display here instead of generic gray color in dark mode. So another change is here. You will notice that if I start scrolling here, this will animate away just like it does on a real iOS device. When I scroll back, it's going to animate back. So you will notice that this actually constrains the viewport of your website. So you can simulate what happens when the user is at the top and what happens when the user starts scrolling and this bar animates to the bottom. This is of course only for the new Safari, because the old Safari just looked like this and nothing animates here. Here are a couple of things you need to know about the tab management and resource management in Sizzy. Now that it has multiple tabs, you have to be careful because every tab in Sizzy is actually kept in memory. So if you open 15 tabs and each tab has its own device canvas in it, and each device canvas you load multiple websites, and all of those websites have animations, and then you send us an email saying, hey, Sizzy is slow, like don't expect that it's gonna be fast if you load 30,000 things at once. So what we do is by default, we will let you have all the tabs in memory, so we don't want to restrict you on that. However, you can manually go and, for example, if I'm not using this device canvas, I can just right click and suspend it. Or I can click right click and suspend all the other tabs. When I navigate to a tab, it will naturally wake up. All of the web views are going to wake up. But what I can do, instead of manually suspending this all the time when I don't need it, I can mark it as suspend tab when inactive. Meaning this tab will, as soon as I activate it, it will become active. But as soon as I navigate away from it, I switch to something else, it's going to automatically get suspended. So this way, every tab that's grayed out, it's suspended, means it doesn't take any memories. You can mark certain tabs like maybe some documentation that you don't visit that often, or some device canvas that has like way too many devices on it. You can just mark it as auto suspended when it's inactive, and this way you will conserve a little bit of memory. Sizzy will be faster. Another tip that's nothing to do with the new Sizzy, it was also in the old Sizzy. CSS animations can kill your computer. Like here on this website, I have basic gradient animations. There's not that many animations on this website, but I can notice my entire computer slowing down when I load it, and even the sync scroll between devices can stop working, and there's nothing we can do as Sizzy because it's on the Electron and Chromium layer. When there's too many animations, like something completely, like it's a bottleneck and something stops working, and then the sync scroll in Sizzy will stop working. So one advice here is you can go to performance, and in performance you're going to choose to disable the animations and disable the transitions. So if I disable these two things, the websites will be as smooth as possible. And if let's say I want to work on this animation, what I can do is I can enable it on all devices. I can disable it on all devices except the first one, meaning the first device will still have the animation rolling. You can see the gradient is shifting, and the other devices will have the animation stop. So at least I have the animation repeating on a single device and not all the other devices. So be careful with CSS animations. One final thing regarding the tabs: if you want to auto suspend them and every tab that's not alive should automatically be suspended after 15 minutes, you can go in the three-dot menu, you can go in settings, and here in the performance you can choose low power mode. And when you are in low power mode, any tab that's alive for 15 minutes and it's not active, it's going to automatically be suspended in the background. But do this only if you really notice that, after a while you get some memory issues. Don't do it as a preventative measure. Do it only when it's an actual problem. Let's talk about the simulations and plugins. Previously, they were all visible here. Now they're hidden in the three-dot menu, and they will appear only when something is enabled. So if I go in debug styles, you will see the icon will briefly appear. And if I decide to turn this on and outline all the elements or override a font or whatever I do here, only then this icon is going to stay here until I am basically done with it. And this works for all the icons. If I have simulations and I make this site be on slow 3G, we want to have that visible, so it's going to stay there. In the future, we're going to let you pin some of these icons. So if you want to have them there permanently, you can do that. But for now, as soon as you go back to the default simulations and as soon as you turn off these overrides and debug styles and everything else, these icons are going to go back. A second thing is, now I'm in full mode. I basically have a full website. So of course I control everything about this website in this three-dot menu for simulations and everything else. But as soon as I add a split, now I have two things, and now I have one website on the left, I have another website on the right, meaning I will control the individual plugins and individual simulations from here. So in here I might say debug styles, change the font, and in here I might say debug styles, but here outline all the elements, which means when you visit this three-dot menu, we're going to remind you, hey, now you don't want to click on this because it's going to get too confusing. We didn't want to hide them because you might be like, where are these options? They were there. But we remind you that now they can be controlled from this three-dot menu instead of completely removing them and confusing you what's going on. So I hope that this is clear enough. And if it's not, this is our first major release after the big revamp. So we're curious to hear your comments and curious what you like and don't like. So we'll improve it even further. Okay, let's talk about default simulations. I'm going to open a website here and you will see that by default, the simulations look like this. My network is online, my cursor is touch, the color scheme is auto, everything is more or less vanilla, untouched. So if I want to change something, I can do it here, but whatever I change is going to be applied only for this device canvas. It's not going to be applied for all the device canvases. So the cursor by default is touch, and I don't like that. I would like all of my device canvases to start with cursor pointer. So I can go in settings, and in simulations, I can choose cursor pointer, which means every time I create a new device canvas, it's going to have the following simulation settings. So now when I open a new device canvas here, let's just close the old one and load in 0 to shift, you will see that when I click inside, this is going to be cursor pointer. If I want to, I can explicitly go to simulations here and simulate touch, but this is going to be only for this device canvas. Now, if I open another one and I do the same thing, let's go to another website, you will see that the cursor will be pointer here unless I go and explicitly enable it to be touch in simulation. So long story short, we allow you an easy way to set the default simulations that you would like for all of your device canvases. Just be careful not to put here like network offline or I don't know, disable JavaScript and then wonder why something doesn't work. Even though I think that if you disable JavaScript or if you do something, we will remind you. So when you spawn your device canvas and you load a website, yeah, we will show you here a yellow dot to tell you, hey, you have something enabled. That's why your website might not be working. So you can see here, I have disabled JavaScript. I have no idea how my website works without JavaScript. I guess it's magic. I don't know. Hopefully this is useful. So let's talk about the sidebar. As I mentioned previously, we had a bar here on the left side. Now we took all of the icons from that bar and just merged it with the icons on the right side. So what we had on the left were to-dos, notes, snippets, and these were, I think those were the three icons that we had on the left side. Now you have the same behavior that you had there. They're just on the right side. As you can see, we cleaned it up a little bit. The icons are a little bit bigger. They have nicer effects. They have more unified header here. So the logic is like the title is on the left, the icons are on the right. They all have a three-dot menu for docking this to the bottom or switching it to overlay mode. So now it's a little bit more unified and cleaner, let's say. Also, there's more right-click action, so I can right-click and just customize the debugging panel. I can right-click on any of this, and if I'm not using something frequently, like view source, I can just right-click it, hide the view source tab, which is going to hide it in this hidden panels tab. So now from here, I can easily click on view source, and it will just open in a pop-up. If I start using it more frequently, I can then pin it back to the debugging panel. I can click on this, and then it's going to go back to this sidebar. Also, this option was here before. Now it's more accessible. You can right click and you can add a custom tab. So here you would add things like, I don't know, on HTTP, localhost 5555, you might be running Prisma Studio, for example, or you might be running Storybook on localhost 1234. But now for the sake of this example, I'm going to say Kitse and I'm going to have my own website here pinned to the right. You will see I have all the icons: Studio, Storybook, Kitse. Usually this will let you load any of your tools that you're using, and instead of loading them in a tab, you will load them here as a tool in the debugging panel. So I can easily toggle this on and off. And if you hide them, let's say that I hide this and I hide this and I hide this, there's no way for now to display them in a pop-up. So if I unhide this, it will just come back here in the bar. We also added this new bar for websites that lets you reload a website, that lets you edit the URL of the website, and there's a home icon which will let you go back to the original URL. Just in case you get lost and you start clicking around and you're like, okay, now I want to go back to the original URL, you can click on the home icon and you'll go back to the original URL. So let's talk about the session manager, which got even more awesome in the new version of Sizzy. So you will see that I'm on google.com and I'm logged in. You can see my avatar here in the corner. And when I hover over this session icon, it will tell me and remind me that this session is default. So let's say I'm going to click on manage sessions and I'm going to create another session and call this a logged out user. and I'm going to make another one, call it user, let's say John. For example, here I can pick a color just as a reminder which session am I in. And now what I can do is I can open a split here and also go to google.com, and you will see if I switch this session down here to logged out user, you will see now that this user is not logged in. So this is a completely new session. And as a reminder, I get this blue icon here to know that I'm in the logged out user session. On the left, I'm still in the default. If I switch to user John, John is also not logged in Google. So I can have as many sessions as I want, and I can easily switch between them. This is especially useful with the new splits. You can have one split on the left side with a single session, another one on the right side with another session. And there's one more scenario that I want to show you, is that if I open device canvas and here I go to google.com, by default this will be synchronized, and you will see that I'm in the default session. So we see Kite everywhere. What I can do is I can override the session for a single device or for more devices. So I can click on the three-dot menu, and here I will choose to override the session to be the logged out user. So now you will see that here it says sign in, but if I spawn a new device like another iPad Pro, or I clone this iPad or whatever, you will see that here by default we will have the first session. So we allow you to change the session on the level of a tab. We allow you to change the session of a level on the level of a single pane. So different panes can have a different session. And level 3 is we allow you to change the session on a device level. So you will see in the session manager for this device canvas, if I click here, it will tell me one device says are overriding the session. And this is, in this case, this device that's overriding the session. If I click clear, like all of them will go back to the selected session, which is default. Hopefully this is clear, and hopefully it's useful. Okay, next up we have the project switcher, which we simplified, and instead of having two buttons, one for managing, one for switching, we just have a single button in the corner that will allow you to see all of your projects, organize all of your projects, and switch between your projects. So you can see that currently demo app is active, so I'm going to switch to demo project. So all of my tabs are going to switch, all of the bookmarks are going to switch, so I can easily go back and forth between different projects. We have all the familiar things. You can create a new group, you can assign an emoji for this group of projects. Let's say these are some secret projects. You can create a project, call it secret landing page. You can also choose a folder on your disk. If you want to associate this project with a folder on your disk, so you can easily open it in Editor or in Finder in Windows Explorer. So you can pick an emoji for this project, and you can drag it around from one group to another group. As you can see now, we simplified project management. You can easily edit the project from here. And the most important part is the old functionality from projects is there, meaning don't forget that when you switch a project, you not only switch tabs, you also switch bookmarks, but you also switch the to-dos, notes, code snippets, sessions, and everything else. So if I have some to-do here, some to-do here, and another to-do, and then I go ahead and switch from demo project to demo app, you will see that when I open the to-dos for demo app, this will have something else, its own to-do, something, and fix the header. So if I have these sessions like logged out user and user John, if I go ahead and switch my project to demo project, you will see that I won't, let me just load a website, I won't have the same sessions here. I will have different sessions. There is a way, if you want to use a session across all of your projects and you don't like the default session for some reason, you can always create a new session. Let's just call it logged in websites. And here you can log into GitHub, to Google, to all the other things, and you can just pin it. And now it will be available globally across projects. So if I switch from demo project to demo app, if I go to the session manager, you will see that I will have the option to switch to logged in websites. So projects are simplified, they work better, and curious to hear your feedback about them. And the last but not least thing that I'm going to show you today is the Butler. So Butler got a revamp. You can launch it with Command-Shift-P as before, and we made it look a little bit more like Raycast. If you know Raycast from macOS, we kind of copied the style of Raycast because it looks super clean, it looks super nice. So Butler can still do the same things that it could do before, with the difference that right now we have a couple of levels. So you can go a level deep. For example, if I want to switch to demo project, there are more options here. So I can activate it, or I can clear the completed to-dos. I can do something else for, let's look at like something real in production, 0 to shipped. I can open it in Editor, I can activate it, I can open it in Finder, I can activate it and open it in Editor. So previously we only had the option to switch between projects. Now the Butler has more options. All the other workflows like NPM, everything works just like before, even a little bit better. So you can still search with NPM, you can still kill a port just by doing kill 3000. We revamped the font awesome. So let me just go to a dark website because it looks bad when it's a white background behind. So if I go search font awesome, you will see we have all of these icons here that you can look at now. Looks pretty clean. I'm forgetting what else do we have. We have bookmarks, managing sessions. Those were the old things. But the most important part is we revamped the architecture of the Butler, and now we can just build upon it and make it better and more awesome in the future updates. So yeah. And that concludes the video. Probably I'm missing around 30,000 things because we added and fixed a lot of small things along the way. So we would love for you to test it. We would love for you to check it out and give us your feedback so we can, patch all the things that you don't like, all the bugs that you find, and release our first beta update soon. If you want to be more adventurous, switch to the beta channel because we've been releasing alphas and betas for the last 6 months. And if you're a user unstable, you probably didn't know about it. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.